Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, August 5th, 2024. That's right. We're already in the first week of August and it is still hot. Hopefully, we'll see some changes before too long, but you know what it is. It's summer and we have to deal with it. So, hey, I will tell you that it was very hot in the garage today because I had the main big door open that you see over here to my left, and I was doing so I did some shuffling, and I'll just tell you that what I'm doing is swapping out the rear end out of jade. So currently, the Cobra Jet project, because it's so hot, I really can't do much as far as paint work at this point. So I decided I'm going to take care of jade, and there's a couple of reasons for that. I'll get into these details here. There's several people that are interested in buying jade as a running driving car, and I've pointed out before I have some issues with the differential, and it's making noise. I don't like it. I will not sell it to somebody with that sort of problem. If it's going to fail, I'd rather it fail either on my when I have it, or I address it and fix it. So that's what I'm doing. I have posted a video on Patreon that was involving the differential housing out of this car behind me, where I took it apart and replaced some bearings and put in a new crush sleeve, cleaned everything up, painted it, and put it all back together while it was basically under this car. So the intent is that I've already done it. I've already got the rear end out of jade. It's up on the lift right now. I have taken out the questionable 9-inch rear end, and I'm going to put in the factory style 8-inch rear end with its factory gears and everything. And I just don't know that the this differential housing is worth having. And it is a 9-inch, but it's an oddball. The housing is narrower even than any other Mustangs, and the casting on the differential is a war, I think is what they call it, WAR, and from my understanding, they're not very strong. So I decided while I have the opportunity, I would take this one apart, clean it up, get it ready to go. And I'm also putting in new leaf springs, new shackles, new U-bolts, new brakes. Everything is going to be new that goes underneath jade. So today I did the swapping around. I put jade on the lift, and the differential is out. It's sitting here to my right on the floor. Tomorrow I'm going to do some cleanup on jade. I never did detail the bottom of the car. I never finished what I had intended. So there needs to be some undercoating applied. There are also the plugs that go where the seat goes, the seat bolts. I never put those in. So there's just a few things I want to clean up and then put the differential back underneath it and get everything hooked back up. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. The Cobra Jet is actually in my house garage. Short term, it's just there because I don't want it in the way while I'm trying to do all this stuff. So there will be more coming. I'm working on a video of this process, and there will be more to come later with this car. At least that's the plan going forward. So that kind of gets you caught up on where I'm at today. And it was very hot. I had this door open because I was shuffling stuff around. I did have the fan blowing, and I was just dripping in sweat. But I did make good progress, so I'm looking forward to getting things moving the other way now. Anyway, thank you all for being here. I know we have a good following tonight. Looks like we have 31 already showing up. That's fantastic. If you're new to this live stream, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments about classic cars, and I mean my bracket of classic is 55 to 78, 79, 80, somewhere in that range. That's what I consider classic at this point. And so if you have any questions about those, by all means, bring them up. And anything else you want to talk about, maybe we'll talk about it as well. So let's see who's here tonight. First in is Terry Keithley. Hi, everyone. And Barry. Hey, Barry, need a boat? Please hit the thumbs up and like. Thank you kindly, Terry and Betty and the cats. I do not need a boat. I have enough money pits. No boats for me. Thank you. Oh, by the way, you get a bell for participating. Ta-da! Derek Pro, hi Barry, everyone. Hope all's well. I see Jade is getting some love before you send her away. Yes. I want to make sure, like I said, everything is working and functional. There's just a few things that I need to address. I don't want to let anything leave that I've worked on and leave with a potential problem. I want to make sure it's right before it goes out the door. So it may cost me a little money to do those things, and that's fine. I'm just that's the way I am. All right. Dave Conville, first Dave sighting. Evening all. Dave is here from New Jersey. Rick Stevenson from typically Florida. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Rick. Glad you're here. Robert checking in. The Infernal Craftsman. Evening all. Typical summer here. 100 to 105 as usual. Yes, and I just turned the AC on out here at 5 o'clock. So I'm just starting to feel it cool down in here. I'm so thankful for that AC unit. But glad you're here, Robert. Dave Tyson. Good evening, all. Good evening, Dave. Glad you're here. Here's a bell. My Mustang Garage. That's James. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, James. Hindsight 6-7. That's Roger from next door. Glad you're here, Raj. Hope all is well. Nandu. Good evening, Barry and everyone. I hope you're doing good. I hope I'm doing good too. There's been we'll not go into that. There's been some good and bad this week. I'm just not going to go down that path. Just not going to bring that into this tonight. Rick Stevenson, we're having a little bit of bad weather here today. That's what I've heard. Apparently there's some big storm, hurricane, or tropical storm, whatever it is. Debbie is kicking up. So my wife was pretty thrilled about that because that's her name. Not the way it's spelled, though. That's her name. So she was pretty excited to know that tropical storm Debbie or hurricane Debbie's coming through. James, why are some names on the stream in blue with a wrench? Good question. Those are moderators. So basically, I can set up this live stream and set up my YouTube channel to have moderators help me out. And in this case, that's what it does. It gives them a little blue wrench so that that shows though they have access to parts of my YouTube channel that other people don't. And so it's just kind of a trustful people that are helping me if I have any problems. I normally don't have any issues, but it's nice to have people out there in case there is problems. So good question. Robert, we are in timeout for being bad. That's his comment about the wrench, yeah. The bowler hat guy, good evening. The bowler hat guy, I like that. Derek Pro sent you an email. Well, let's see what he sent me. Okay. Yeah, he got some new parts. So let me see if I can... I'll download one of those anyway, and we'll see if I can't pull that up here. It's always nice to have new parts, and as Derek is into this over in Australia, stuff has to be shipped over to Australia. And it looks like he got a heater box. So that's nice. That's an AC unit. I don't know what brand that is. But yeah, that's a nice little AC unit. And his second picture was showing the tubes on the heater core on the inside. And they apparently were bent slightly. Not surprised. That happens. But yeah, those are nice. Nice to have. Steve Reed. Hello, Barry and everyone. Hey, Steve. Paducah, Kentucky, right? David Thompson. Hey, everyone. Hello, David. Glad you're here. Derek Pro Point of my email: allow more time when installing new bits. Be patient and test fit, test fit, test fit. Yes, yes, definitely. Always make sure stuff fits. You know, I've stressed that so many times that I don't like to put stuff together until I know everything fits. And there are times where you can put stuff together multiple times, and half of those times it'll fit. Half the times it won't. So you got to kind of time it out. It's like, is it going to fit this time? Let's find out. But yeah, it's always a challenge. I know I've had several people make some different posts and questions about what can I do about this or what can I do about that. And it's usually a paint problem or it's some other thing. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's like you should have checked that before you got to this point, because now you're backtracking. And I'd rather test fit everything 3 times than start over. So yes, always test fit. Denny Alvey is checking in. Hey y'all. Hey Denny, glad you're here. Oh, we have a long gap. This viewer has not been here in quite some time. Says, hi Barry and all, this is Jeff Reynolds. I met one of your countrymen in London on the tube last Saturday. Said he was spending a week in London to escape the U.S., I guess, heat. Not surprised. So, Jeff, glad you are here. Jeff is from the UK, London. So, yeah, awesome. That's cool. It's been a while, Jeff. I'm glad you showed up. Gig'em Garage. Good evening, Barry. Good evening, Gig'em. Denny Alvey. Hey, all. Good evening from Paducah, Kentucky. So that's 2 from Paducah. So awesome. You and Steve ought to hook up. Find some car shows or something together. Yeah, Jeff Reynolds. Heat. Yeah, I got you. Terry Keithley. Will the hurricane hit you? Me personally, I don't expect it to. There's always a potential, but the it comes up the coast, and I'm south of Atlanta, like straight south of Atlanta, about 30 minutes, and so it takes a lot of effort for the hurricanes to get to us. We'll maybe get some rain and stuff, which we've had plenty of that, but yeah, I don't expect the hurricane to do much at this point. Richard Vogel, good evening, Barry. Good evening, Richard. Glad you're here. Ed Cucurella. Hello, all. Hello, Ed. Rick Gain, not paying much attention tonight. Mom was taken to the hospital by ambulance for chest pains. Waiting for a call from the hospital now. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that, Rick. Sorry to hear that. I know you've been dealing with a lot lately, and that just doesn't make it any better. So, glad you're here. Thinking about you. Robert, hope it's not serious, Rick. Yes, I agree. Rusty's Restoration, hello, Barry, and all. Give a thumbs up. Yes, by all means, give a thumbs up. You know, earlier, since I see now Rick is showing up again, just a bunch of rain and some wind, nothing like what hit Texas. I have to get my coffee. I forgot to take a sip when Rick showed up. Okay. Yeah, nothing like what hit Texas. I haven't even kept up, so I don't know what Texas has. Rick says, at least where I am, a bit different in the Panhandle. Okay, yeah. Steve Reed, 100 here in Paducah, Kentucky. Yeah, 100. Yeah, it's hot. It is hot. Gig'em Garage, question for 65 Mustang interior quarter vent panel. Has anyone, I guess, been able to get to 3 metal grills for the vent panel? It seems when one orders new vent panel, those are missing. I have not ordered those, nor do I have any information about those. And he says for a fastback, yes. So if anybody has any information on that, he needs a 3 metal grill for the vent panel. So it doesn't come with the vent panel. But I guess, I don't know who offers those, if they offer them. I'm sure somebody does. But I don't have that information. So any help on that would be great. Good question. And again, for a fastback. Bob Shoemaker, good evening, all from Oklahoma. Not okay with the heat. Yeah, I know it. I can tell you, when I put in this AC unit, I had posted pictures about it, and of course I did a video and all that stuff. It's been like 6 years ago, I think, at least 5 or 6 years ago. And just putting that in, I was drenched in sweat because of the effort of the middle of summer and putting that in place. So I'm so thankful that I have that thing working. I do wish I had two of them out here, but it's fine. It does what I need. If I get out here in the morning and I kick it on and give it some time to cool down other things like these car bodies and stuff, then it really does a great job. I don't know if you can see, woo, that's my thermometer. And it looks like it's still about 80 is what that's saying. Dawn's Manufacturer, hello from Toasty PDX. Toasty, okay. Usually it's rainy, but that's good. I guess it's good. Glad you're here, Don. Terry Keithley, prayers for Rick's mom. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate that. Jeffrey Dewar. Good evening, Barry and everyone else. 59 and raining in Minnesota. Summer went by fast. Whoa, 59. Woo! Yeah, I don't want that yet. Or if I do, it just needs to stay that way for the whole rest of the year. I don't want nothing below that if I don't have to. Steve Reed, I think I have a EC. I don't know what you're saying, Steve. EC. Electric car? I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to type. Richard, Barry, what did you divide wrong in the 9-inch rear end? Well, I didn't take it apart, and I'm probably not going to. The thing is, when I got Jade, when I got the car here, it wasn't running. It wasn't driving, and it was a long time until I actually got it on the road. But what I found was when I was trying to move the car around, it was the wheels were fighting me, and I realized it. I thought it was a posi unit, but it wasn't. It had a mini spool in the middle of the axle, or middle of the differential. Now, without really having a vast knowledge of these and setting these things up, I'm not afraid to dig into stuff. I'm a mechanic, so I went ahead and took it all apart to remove the mini spool so it would be functional. I didn't want that mini spool in there. I put it back together exactly the way it came apart. And what I realized is it may not have been put together right when I took it apart. So by going back to those parameters, I may have induced a problem. So anyway, once it all got back together and eventually I got it to where I could drive it, it started making noise. Now, I didn't put any bearings or anything. I didn't take anything apart other than taking out the center section and pulling out the mini spool. So I did take the bearings out, take the adjusters, whatever out, and just didn't mess with it. Now, the other thing is, without knowing what's correct or what I needed to maybe change, I don't know. It may have a bad bearing like I found in the 8-inch. So when I posted on Patreon, when I took out the pinion setup, took out the pinion, there's two tapered bearings that are very close together. And I thought those bearings were okay. Turns out one of them was bad. The race was chewed up and the bearing was chewed up. The other bearing was fine. So I swapped those out, and again, I didn't mess with the ring gear. I didn't mess with the center section. I just put the pinion back in the way that it was before. I could be the same problem. Somebody else had already had this apart because there were bolts messed up and different things. And hopefully they didn't mess up anything inside. But the 9-inch, I don't know. somebody may be interested in it. If you probably can't see here on the side of this car, right there, I wrote down below the vent. It says 59 and 3/8 or 5/8, 59 and 5/8 inches, and that is a measurement from brake drum to brake drum on axle flange, 59 and 5/8 inches. Okay. This other axle, I don't remember the exact number. I can tell you that there are that has spacers for the wheels that are 1.25 inches per side. So there's 2.5 inches added to get the wheels out where they need to be. And I think, Roger and I measured, I think we found 3/8 of an inch difference overall with the spacers. So I think it was 60 and an eighth or something along those lines. That is what the spacing would be for the 9-inch with the wheel spacers on it. So by putting the stock rear end back under it, the 9x17 wheels should fit just right. As far as what I do with this 9-inch, it's going to end up back in this car temporarily just to roll it around. I'm not going to do anything with it. So that's kind of where we're at on that. Also, I realized later that the drum brakes on the 9-inch are bigger. They're like 11-inch brakes because that rear end is out of a 58 or 59 Mercury station wagon. It's one of those oddball things. Somebody may be interested in it. I don't know. Maybe I'll sell it down the road. I don't know. But right now, I need to just put it back under this car so it can move and roll around. But that's where we're at with the differentials. Steve Reed, he's talking the inside of the car or the vents on the outside. I think he's talking about the outside. I think. Because 3 pieces that go on the outside, I think is what he's referring to. You got an extra set for the inside. Yeah, I don't know for sure. We'll have to get some clarification on that. So when you ask, I forget who it was that asked about the vents. Oh, Gig'em. So Gig'em, clarify that for Steve so we can determine what you really need. I thought it was the outside, but I may be wrong. Derek Pro, I was researching on correct window installation and adjustments in the doors, came across many of your earlier videos, very informative, many moons ago back when you were working on several 65s. Well, you know what? Derek, I don't know if I do. I can't tell you how many Mustang videos I have on YouTube, but there's well over, I don't know, probably 1,500 videos total. And yeah, there's a lot of information over the years. So yeah, I'm glad you found them. Gig'em, yes, inside the car there are 3 small chrome grills. I have the old panel, red with grills, but they are pitted and be hard to remove. You're changing to black. Okay, so Steve and Gig'em, you may want to communicate a little bit. I don't know if that works. C&J, hello Barry. Hello Barry. You should try the Lenko spot welder. Got a gnat flying around. They work great for the factory look. For spot welds, got mine dirt cheap. Guy didn't know what he had. For $100, well, that is dirt cheap. I had somebody offer me a spot welder a few months back, but I can't remember what he wanted for it or if it actually worked. I don't remember. But it would be nice to have one. Rick says, let Robert come up. He can make that 9-inch housing wider. If he can shorten an 8-inch, he can lengthen a 9-inch. He probably could. Yeah, but that thing, I don't want to make it wider. I don't want to make it wider. The Jade, this is making Jade more sellable. So putting the factory rear end back underneath it, having everything work, that's my goal. That's all I want to do. But yeah, I'm sure Robert could probably make good use of it. And Robert says Barry does have that awesome saw that makes perfect cuts. Yeah, Yeah, you're right. Just have to get the housing in the saw, right? James, the 69 could benefit from that 9-inch diff. The pumpkin can be changed out with a performance one, but the tubbed out 69 would benefit a shorter with housing assembly. That's true. I mean, the housing could be used in something with a mini tub. You're right. Um, but we have the factory 9-inch from the Cobra Jet, and I think it's just going to go back in the car. It'll get cleaned up and put back together. It's heavily pitted, but it is the factory correct 9-inch that was with the car. But yeah, I could see it happening. I have different differentials sitting back here. I do have a Curry rear end out of I think it's set up for a 65 or 6 car. So I have a Curry rear end. I have a center chunk. I actually have 2 chunks back there. But I don't know what the specs are on them. I know the one is a nodular case. I think the other one was just a car, differential. Steve Reed, the ones that I have are red 2 gigam. Okay. Denny Avilenko spot welders are great. He got a good deal. Yeah, sounds like it. Okay. Fairlane Central. Hi everyone. Been cleaning up 4 vintage 70 5-slot mags that came with my 68 Fairlane bonus. Okay. 70s 5-slot mags. That's cool. Yeah, those are cool. Nice. Glad you're here. Denny, I believe that 9-inch is correct for 65, 66. Highly sought after. Well, maybe so. It may be so. I mean, I can't measure it right now, but I know that it's narrower than what should be in the 68 because, like I said, they got 1.25 inch spacers on both sides, of course, to get the axles wide enough or the housing wide enough. So yeah, that you're right. It could very well be a good deal for somebody who has a 65 or 6. That's a good point. I'll have to keep that in mind because for now it's just going to stay underneath this car until I do something else with it, and then we'll figure it out. Evan's Messy Garage. Hey Barry and everyone. Hey Evan, glad you're here. Hope all is well. Another thing that I've run into with the 9-inch rear end, and again being out of an older car, and trying to incorporate more correct stuff under Jade, I think I'm going to have to change the brake hose because the brake hose I have is for that housing, and it's got 1 center bolt and 2 leads that come off, and I don't think I can make that work. I'm going to experiment and see if I can, but I may not be able to make it work. And so I've already ordered the correct hose. And the other thing. Now, let's see how I can word this. I don't have parking brakes on Jade. I don't have the cables underneath. I don't have the hard cables that run into the backing plates. I don't have any of that, and I'm probably not going to put it on. This car, when I took it apart, it doesn't have any of that either. And it also is missing several pieces inside the brakes. So I've ordered I already have them, new brake shoes, and I have most of the spring kit, or I have the spring kit, let's say. And today I ordered the brake adjusters, 2 new brake adjusters, the pivot points where the cable wraps around, which is for the adjuster. But I'm missing the bar, the short bar, or long bar that goes on the top above the axle. There's 2 flat bars, 1 per side, and there's a little spring, and that's meant to keep the shoes kind of in place to each other. but that I need to come up with some of those. What I may end up doing is taking the taking apart the Poco Mustang, pulling the brake parts out of that one, just so I have all the pieces to put it back together. I'm still not going to put on the parking brakes, but I can have all the other stuff there that's supposed to be there. The automatic adjuster and all that sort of thing. So I'll have to take care of that or come up with those plates somewhere. I don't know if I have anybody around who has those. Denny Alvey, that was the big swap 59 wagon. Okay, well that's what it is. It is that rear end. So I have no idea what it's worth. I really don't. So any suggestions would be great. And he also says, big brakes and big bearings most had a war center section, and that's what this is. This has the war center section. I've had it apart. It's on the inside. WAR is stamped on, cast on the inside. And I've had people tell me that the war differentials are not that strong. Everybody wants a nodular. That's fine. But I don't have. I'm probably not going to have any use for this thing. At this rate, I don't see myself doing a 65 or 6 that's going to need something like that. So I don't know. I'd figure out what it may be worth. Maybe I'll just be selling it. Who knows? Evans, Messy Garage. I built shelves and started digging out the garage, hopefully getting the Mustang out of storage soon. Well, that would be nice. That would be nice. Denny. Oh, yeah, sorry. Big breaks. Fairland Central, not sure you made a connection, Barry, but this is Brian B. I changed my channel name. Okay. Hi, Brian. I did not make the connection, but thank you. Glad you're here. Travis Holman, hey, Barry, hope you're doing great. Won't be able to watch tonight, but I got my hat. Thank you so very much, sir. Awesome. Thank you, Travis. Appreciate you. Jeff Reynolds says, Barry and Rick. Rick, I wish you were. He must have run out of words. So we'll have to figure that out. James, those bars are only $10 each at NPD new. Okay. Yeah, I may have to just get some. Richard Vogel, does your Mach 1 have its original rear end? It does. It does. It has a 9-inch under it. So, yeah, it's there. And I'm probably just going to go with that. I don't plan mini tubs or anything like that in my Mach 1. I don't want to do that. Now, there is at the end of this month, I'm picking up another Mach 1, the 70. And that's part of the reason why I'm trying to get Jade ready to sell. I would like to be able to sell that car and free up at least one parking spot. So then I could put the other car in Jade's spot temporarily. So there's a lot going on. There's always a lot going on. When I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Mustangs here right now, plus the Camaro, plus my trucks, all that stuff, and the Model A. Lots of stuff going on. So Denny says, last one I saw was $350. Okay. I mean, it may be, I don't know if it's worth it for me to sell that, because then I'm going to have to come up with something else to put, at least short term. I can leave that together, just put it underneath this car and just make it a roller. So, and that's the plan. That is the plan, just to keep it rolling for the moment. But yeah, the issues I've run into with Jade, again, the rear end is making noise. And I didn't take any of that stuff apart when I was going through the car. So I rebuilt all the sheet metal, I rebuilt all the front suspension, I put in the floor pans, did all the other stuff. And I really didn't even look at the rear end at that time. I just assumed it was a 9-inch and it was ready to go. And, I just didn't really think about it. So I've been wanting to, for quite some time, put Jade back up on the lift and kind of, like I said, detail stuff underneath, clean it up, do some undercoating, make it look nice, and this gives me that chance. I also ended up, I may take the shocks off that are on this car. I don't know what they are. I know they're white, and they're so stiff. Whenever you drive Jade around and you hit a bump, it's a jarring thing, and so I need to probably put in a more gentle shock absorber as well. But they also had put in the in the bushings, they were like a urethane bushing, and those things, I took them out partly because they were so hard, but also because when you try to put the brackets in, the shackles, put them in, you can't put the shackle in unless you put the bushing on the shackle and bring it up and angle it in. If the bushing's in place, you can't really get that around. So I had to take all that out and get those bushings out of there. The other problem was, I should have taken a picture of it. The bolts, they used bolts on this and had either bought or made shackles that were slightly shorter than the factory ones. And so when they put it together, I don't know how they did it, because I could not remove the bolts. The bolts were so long that they were hitting the drop-off panel, and I still had about 1.5 inches to go to get it out of the outer bracket piece, the shackle piece. So I ended up having to cut off one of the bolts just to get the thing out, and then I had to basically break down the bushing and get it out of the way, because I couldn't put the shackle in. There was just no way it was going to happen. So let's see here. Robert, I need to take a trip out and drive Jade before you sell. Yeah, we can do that. You know, it was funny, just yesterday, our two sons were here. Now, my younger son was here because he needed work done to his car, which I'm happy to help him with. My other son was here because they live local and they had his wife and our grandkids. So they were here to spend an afternoon. And I decided to take advantage of them being here and use their muscle to help me push the Cobra Jet out of the garage and into the house garage. And so I had Jade out. I had my younger son back Jade out. And my sons are 32 and 30, so they're not kids. He backed Jade out, and I was like, well, do you want to take her for a drive? And they were like, really? Yeah, go ahead. So they, just on our street's about a half mile long. So younger son drove older son, went up and down the street a few times, and then the older son, they swapped places and then went up and down the street a few times. And I wanted them to drive it. I wanted them to experience it. They're not really into the cars like I am, but I wanted them to understand what it's like to drive something like that classic Mustang. And so they did, and they had fun doing it. And so I was pretty happy about that. So I made video of it. I put it on Instagram, or I think maybe on, I don't know if I put it on Instagram or not. I think I put it on Facebook. And just letting them enjoy it for the short term until I get everything swapped out. And like I said, I have several people that are interested in buying that car. And, I can't justify having it sit in the garage or barely driving the thing, knowing that I have a Mach 1 to build. I've got another 68 coupe to build. I've got other things to do. It just doesn't make sense. So I'm okay with selling it because I know I have other ones waiting in the wings to get worked on. Rick Stevenson, have you sold Frankentruck? I have not. I know I've been debating on it. Currently, Frankentruck just sits right outside the door here, and it is packed full of all the rusty sheet metal from the Cobra Jet. There's brake rotors, brake pads. There's probably a ton of weight on that thing right now. It's heavy. And the thing is, I'm not going to scrap that stuff yet. It is tagged and legal, and I can drive it. But I tend to pile up all that stuff, and then when I'm done with the project and I don't need any of that, it goes. So it's going to all go away. Now, there's somebody else that's interested in getting a lot of the parts, leftover pieces and parts from the Cobra Jet because it has date codes and stuff on it. And they want to hang on to that stuff. And that's fine. I'm making arrangements with the owner, and we're going to whatever. So if they want those rusty pieces, they can have them. I'm not worried about any of that. But yeah, Frankie Truck really doesn't go anywhere unless it has to. Derek sent you another email. Oh, Derek, what are you sending me now? Okay. Ah. Okay, so he's got a differential that he's redone. That's cool. Let's see if I'll pull that up. And apparently this is it's labeled as 59 differential. So yeah, that's probably, it says my first resto job many years ago from this to this, and the first one was just a really crusty, rusty looking housing, but he got it all cleaned up. Yeah, that's nice. Really nice. Thank you, Derek. Jeff Reynolds, Barry and Rick. Rick, I wish you and your mom well. It's my 91-year-old mom that's been keeping me busy, and up to now, it's me that's been in the ambulance. One of the reasons I dropped in this evening was to see how Barry's coping with his retirement. Yeah. I don't know that I'm really retired or not. I'm still very, very busy, but yeah, I'm 91. That's pretty impressive. You know, I've got an uncle who he's either 98 or 99, and he is in hospice care. So he's got a short time, I think, but we thought he had a short time 10 years ago, and he just keeps on ticking. Really, really incredible guy. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough whenever they get old like that. You have to help them out when you can. James, my Mustang Garage, you are a lucky man with an understanding wife. I'm only allowed to have one project at a time, except for inside the house. She gave me 20 projects inside. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You know, my wife, she knows I've been doing this all my life. You know, when we were dating, I was racing stock cars. I was building cars back then, and she already knew what she was getting into. So the funny thing is, there's been some people who had, I think her mom one time said, "Hey, you know," because they would come to visit, and I'd be out here in the garage, doing stuff, constantly. I mean, it's just the way I am. And I think her mom was like, "Hey, why is he always out in the garage? Why isn't he in the house doing, blah, blah, blah?" And my wife came to my defense, and she said, "Look, I know where he's at. He's not at a bar. He's not out drinking. He's not out fooling around. He's right there in the garage. If I need him, I can get him." And I was like, that's what it should be, So she knew what she was getting into when she married me. And she's been very easygoing with that stuff. Now, occasionally we do have our debates on on certain things, but she's like, just leave me alone out here in the garage, and that's it's good for all of us. Dave Tyson, the way it sounds, your boys will I'm not sure, you missed something there. Maybe more Mustangs drive. Want to drive more Mustangs? I don't know. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I'm hoping that my grandson will get involved. I'd be happy to build him a car. Yeah, we'll see. One day. Brady Hermanson. Hermanson. How about that? Brady Hermanson. How about that? That's my guess. Your opinion on doing the Shelby drop? I've heard good things. I have not done it myself. It's not that complicated, but I have heard good things about it. That's about as far as I can go. I've not driven anything that has the drop. I don't have any reference point. All I know is I've heard good things about it. So take that for what it's worth. I'm sure other people have done it and probably give you more information on that. But that's all I can really offer to you. I've not done it myself, but I'm not against it. I've considered doing it on some of my cars, just haven't been that motivated, to be honest. I just haven't. But it might happen. Good question. Chris Greenaway, showing up from the Great White North. Glad you're here, Chris. Hope all is well. Richard Vogel, are you buying the other Mustang for the wife so she doesn't complain about the other cars? Buying? No. You know, it's funny. I've had so many cars. I've lost count. I know at one point I had written down well over 250 cars that I've owned in my life. And that was probably 15 years ago that I quit counting. I know I've been well over probably 300, 325 for sure. And there's been many times where she'll ask me something and I'll say, oh yeah, I got parts for that. And she's like, what's that? And I said, well, that's the 68 Camaro I've been working on for X number of years. And she's like, where did that come from? Well, that's the one Roger and I went down the road and bought. It was at this guy's place and blah, blah, blah. We brought it home. I showed it to you. It was this and that and the other. And she's like, I don't remember that car. I'm like, okay, well, that's what it is. So, yeah, she doesn't really, she doesn't complain much, thankfully. Derek Pro says, same story here. Yeah. Don's Manufactory, in your man cave, I have a couple of those. Yeah, this is my only man cave. I will say that. This is really the only spot. Other than I go in and I play some video games for an hour, maybe. I do Wreckfest. Love playing that game. It's fantastic. Smash up cars, race cars. It's fun. Derek, speaking of which, the garage is calling. Have to go, guys. Stay well, Barry, everyone. All right, glad you're here, Derek. Don's Manufacturing. So, Shelby drop worked good on Betsy. Yeah, like I said, I've heard good things, and I think it's worth doing. I'm just kind of lazy as far as that goes. I like doing everything stock and as much as I can, but I don't mind doing modifications. But I don't know. I just don't think about it. Like, the Shelby drop is not coming to the forefront of my mind when I'm working on something. Unless somebody says, hey, you want to do a Shelby drop? Oh, I didn't think of that. So, Jeff Reynolds, Barry and all, 49 at the moment. It's been, I guess, fun taking part this evening. 45 after midnight here in Barking, East London. Hope to join again soon and see that Mach 1, that 70 Mach 1 rolling. Yes, it will be. And also, Jeff, I don't know if you knew it or not. We went on a cruise over to Europe a few weeks ago. We didn't go to London. We ended up going to Spain and Italy and France, but had a good time while we were over there. And the weather was really nice. It was really nice. Chris Greenaway, as long as I got my Montego GT and 72 Gran Torino, I'll be happy. You know what? I'm going to have to, let me see if I can find this picture and post it, because I took some picture. I think maybe I didn't take a picture, or if I may have deleted it already. There was a couple cars at the cruise in we went to at Summit that you probably would have really, really liked. And there were some Gran Torinos there. There was I'm pretty sure it was a Montego, but I don't know if I took a picture of it. I don't think I did. But I did I will say this: I did a walk around video at Summit that I'll probably edit and put up, and it has basically every car there. So that I'll put that um, I'll be I'll make that video happen so you can see some of the stuff. James, I once got a 82 Mustang at 89, no cash. I gave the guy a 100-year-old Winchester double barrel shotgun. Interesting. Interesting. Jeff Reynolds says, I saw your cruise bit. Okay. Okay. I haven't posted it yet. Unless you saw it on Facebook or something. Or somewhere. Pictures and stuff. I haven't posted the actual cruise yet. So. But yeah, James, you got an 82 Mustang in 89. That's 7 years. That's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal. I did I once was given I think it was a 79, 80, 81 Pontiac Firebird. And I think I talked about that before. My neighbor across the street, his daughter was dating this guy who was driving this Firebird. And I was over there. We would get together occasionally, and he was over there. And I said, oh, that's a cool car. How long have you had it? And blah, blah, blah. And he told me about it. And I said, you ever think about getting rid of it or, one day? He said, oh, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. He said, I'm driving to the college right now. I'm like, oh, okay. And next thing I know, it was later that summer. He just pulls up in my driveway. Driving the car. Pulls up in my driveway. Gets out and hands me the keys and a title. He says, here, you can have it. I'm done with it. And I was like, what? He said, you can have it. He said, I'm not going to do anything with it. I don't want to go through the deal of selling it. I don't want anything for it. You can have it. And I was like, okay, thanks. So I did do a little work to it, and I ended up selling it because I didn't have a place to put it. I didn't have time to mess with it. But I did do some work to it and fix it up. But yeah, it was running, driving car. Here. Thanks. Let's see, James. Do you have room for an NPD banner for your garage, 3 feet by 9 feet? Oh, wait a minute. Let me get to Jeff. He says, it must have been a Facebook or Instagram notification. I just remember getting excited about you getting across the pond. Yeah, it was quite the thing. And I made a video. Actually, I made a lot of video. And I'm editing that now. And I've got 13 minutes done. And that is just stuff we did prior to getting on the ship. So I had to edit a bunch of that down. But yeah, there will be a video. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it on my regular garage channel or my workshop channel. I haven't decided which is where it needs to go. But it was a lot of fun. So I don't know if anybody cares to see it on my regular channel or not. I might post it there. James, do you have room for a banner 3 feet by 9 feet? Room? I mean, technically I probably could hang it from my rafters, but I'm also, I don't know. There's really nothing open to hang that somewhere. I mean, there's really no open spot. So I had other banners like that. I've got some that were some other racing banners that I ended up taking down because they were just taking up too much. Trailmaster, I think, was one of them. But yeah, the NPD thing, I know that they're doing a deal with you. So I don't know, you may want to try to make that happen with, in your shop if you can. Brady, best deals I've got, what I ever got was from knocking on a door and talking to people. If it's listed, it tends to be more expensive. Yes. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Jeff, I'm looking forward to you and your wife's cruise video. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of fun to see. I shot video with my Insta360. I shot video with my GoPro. I took tons of pictures, and I'm trying to merge all that together. And then I'm going to have to add some music to it and just maybe some voiceover and just try to just make it a really comprehensive video. It was a lot of fun. Although I will say that I turned off the camera when we went to the nude beach. Nope. I wasn't going to film any people naked. Turned off the camera as soon as we got on the beach. I was like, whoops, put the camera away. Can't have that. James, they gave me 2 banners. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. That's a big banner. NPD, 3 feet by 9 feet. Because I know the bulk of what I get seems to be from dynacorn because it's just, sheet metal. I'll think about it. The bowler hat guy, how much time do you spend editing? Probably way too much. Recently, I bought a new computer because my old computer was just dragging. It was dragging so bad. I could make, and it was an older computer. It was like 8 years old. And I could make my videos, and let's put it this way. If I make a video that's 45 minutes long, that means I have a lot of footage. And I got to be selective about what I want to put in there. And probably to edit that video, if it's 45 minutes, probably 3 to 4 hours just in editing. Maybe even just a little bit longer, depending on how things are going and what I'm trying to get across in that video. But yeah, minimum 3 to 4 hours. And a lot of times I just start on a video and I have to stop. I have to play chess for a little bit or something to get my mind out of that where I'm locked in for a minute, play a little bit of chess, and then go back to doing the editing because it helps me kind of reboot a little. Yeah, the videos are, I've got some videos out there that are an hour long. Like the video I put on Patreon about the differential, that's like 53 minutes long. And it goes over a lot of information in the process of what I did. But, it's on Patreon. Now, I have other videos I put on YouTube that have been anywhere from, I try to hit 30 minutes to 45 is what I usually try to hit. Some of them go to an hour, depending on what I'm trying, what I'm doing. And a lot of times I have to cut stuff out just because I don't know. I don't want to make a video that's an hour and a half long or 2 hours long. I feel like that's too long for somebody to kind of absorb what I'm doing. So I try to balance it out to a decent time period. James, I love that. I love that the commercials that pop in are Harbor Freight. Oh, yeah, I can't see any of that stuff. So, tall red easel, maybe a sweet tea because of the heat tonight. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. But I have to change the title to Sweet Tea and Coffee, or Sweet Tea and Cars, or Cars and Sweet Tea. Papa Joe's Garage, hello, Barry, joining late and actually commenting this time. Well, that's awesome. Glad you're here. I'll give you 2 bells for showing up. Bowler hat guy, I would have watched the 45-minute video. Yeah. Well, this, and the video, like, as an example, this cruise video, it's covering a lot of ground. And it may end up being an hour long. It really might. It may even be longer than that. I don't know yet. I'm trying not to put boring stuff into the video, just because it's there. I don't like to do that. If you'll notice, a lot of my videos, I'll do a time lapse sequence, or I will do it like in stages. Like I'll do a time lapse, and I may show that time lapse sequence while I'm discussing what I'm doing to the car. So as an example, like in Jade, I'm making a video, and I'm taking apart the shackles and the bolts. And in my pre-video, as I'm discussing the car, I'm saying I will be taking off this and I will be doing that. So I'm pointing at what I'm doing, and then I superimpose the time lapse on top of that so it flows with it. It used to be I would probably try to take that time lapse and put it after the introduction but then I have to add music to it or something like that because I don't like to have dead space. So now what I try to do is incorporate what I'm actually doing in a time lapse sequence while I'm talking about it, so it kind of has a better flow to it. I mean, there's a lot people don't realize. People don't realize how much effort it really takes to make a good video. I know James has talked about it. You know, he's working on making videos for his channel, and you gotta kind of sit back and think, and you have to get camera angles and why or what you're trying to film. You know, makes all the difference. So, and I get frustrated when I lose stuff. Like if I've filmed stuff before with my GoPro, and it just turned off for no reason. And here I am talking to myself and pointing at stuff and doing these different things, and I have nothing. In fact, I had an issue with the GoPro on the cruise. I had shot probably 20, 30 segments of video. And I also used the same GoPro without changing anything back to the doing some filming in here. And when I went to pull up all that information, it showed nothing. It was not there. And I was like losing my mind because I needed that cruise footage in particular. So I had to buy a service. It was called Drill Doctor, I think, where it'll go in and rebuild the videos, and then I could pull them off. So I had to buy a service just to do that. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things that end up getting cut. You know, it's kind of like when you watch a movie and they show you the bloopers at the end. Sometimes I put bloopers on when I make a mistake or, you know, something, but many times it's just too long. All right. Oh, Papa Joe's responding again. Or did I already click on him? Okay. Yeah. Coming this time. Okay. Robert, I'm hoping to replace my GoPro for our next trip, or our trip next month. Lots of film, and maybe we'll go to the car museum in Athens and film it. Lots of cool old Maseratis and other exotic cars there. Yeah. Well, if you needed to, I don't use it much. I've got a Hero 11 sitting here that you could probably borrow. I know there's a Hero 11 underneath some of this paperwork. Yeah. So I keep the Hero 11 as kind of a backup, just in case. Can't have enough cameras. Can't have enough. James, it's a huge learning curve. I lost the whole video, ended up buying another part to restore. Yeah, it's, people just don't, and until you do it, you don't realize how much is involved with trying to make a good video. You know, early on, I was just shooting with a little, not a GoPro, but just a little camera like a GoPro, but just junk, like a Kmart camera, Walmart camera, and so a lot of my stuff was just, my early videos were just me pointing and talking about what I did or what I planned to do. And as I evolved, I realized, well, I got to do more first person, like shooting, to show the action while I'm doing it, instead of doing it and showing what I did. And I think people really appreciated that a whole lot more, and it makes sense. Terry Keithley, what are the levels of being on Patreon? There are four published levels, let's say. The one I really don't recommend. It's the basic one. It's a $3 level. That's only there because Patreon put it there. I did not select that, and there's really no. I mean, it's $3 a month, but it doesn't get you much. It might get the update videos that I do. It may get occasional pictures or stuff like that, or little comments, but it doesn't get access to the regular videos. And then there's the $5, which will get you, more access, and also that $5 level gets you a sticker. Little incentive there. The other ones are available are $9 and $25. And those are the published levels. And those are ones that get you, more access overall. For the higher levels, I've offered to actually have like phone calls and consultations. If somebody needs some help, I will help them out with it. And that's like at the $25 level. And then I have other people who go above and beyond and contribute what they feel like and what they want to do. So there's no limit to that. And I have a few people that are over or $50 or above, and I, genuinely appreciate them. But so that's where I'm at. I think the bulk of my subscribers to Patreon are at the $5 level, and that's where it's at. So, but I obviously I would prefer people go to higher levels, and then there's also, if you sign up, they offer I have offered a discount. So like you can sign up for the monthly, or you can sign up for a yearly, and it gets you a discount. I forget what the percentage is if you do it for the year, and now you're paid up ahead of time. Good question, Terry. Steve Reed, this head needs to cool down a little. I have about 30 minutes of welding that I can start painting the bottom side of my 65 Mustang Fastback. Okay. Yeah. Jeff Reynolds, Barry, my immediate reaction to your cruise video is to split it into parts. Yeah, I'll think about it. I get where you're coming from, and I have to see what the length of it's going to be. I don't know how many people would watch. Like if I did part 1, I don't know how many people would watch more. Like they'd want to come back and watch part 2 or part 3. I don't know. So we'll see. But that's not a bad idea. Steve Reed. Oh, Steve says heat. Yes. James, no sound with 2 videos, no visual but sound. Being a new videographer is a big thing to learn. Yes. Yeah, it is a challenge. It really is. And maybe I can help you out with it when I come up there. I mean, I'm going to go to my Mustang garage in a couple of weeks. I'll be there for 2-3 days, whatever. And so maybe I can help you out with some of that. And help you figure out what you need to do, or ways to improve it. So yeah, we'll be doing some videos up there. I'll be filming, and of course he'll be filming as well. So we'll see how that goes. And it's going to make a camper trip. So I've talked about it before. This is what I've really always wanted to do with the RV, is make trips like this and work on people's cars. And so this will be kind of what we're doing with that. Richard, I appreciate all the content you've created for us. I've learned so much from your videos. Well, thank you, Richard. Jeff Barry, yours is handy info on how to progress and improve video making. Yeah, thank you for that. It is a lot of effort. Don Bowler, I spent a lot of time editing first the video, then render a small copy, load it in my DAW to edit audio, import that audio file back into my video editor, and run final high-res version for YouTube. I don't go to that extent. I know you're a sound guy, and I get that. I don't go quite that far. My editing is material. I edit sound as I go. So I try to get a balanced sound all the way through. I don't like to have loud segments. I'll go through and I will edit down grinding or high-pitched sounds. I will drop those down so they're not offensive. And I try to balance all that out. There's probably some way that my software would actually let me do all of them at one time, but I don't. I tend to do one segment at a time, get the balanced sound where I want it, move to the next one, and then make that one match. And that's kind of how I do that. Because it's nothing worse than, you're listening to something or watching something, and all of a sudden a grinder comes out and it's like, irritating loud noises. So I try to avoid that. Steve Reed, sorry about the misspelling. I got some keys sticking on my computer. That's all right. That's all right. That's why I don't eat ice cream on top of around my computer anymore. It's ice cream stuck in the keys and make problems. Dave Britton checking in. Hello, Dave. Glad you're here. James, I'm still waiting for a power cable to keep my camera on for more than 15 minutes at a time. Plus, the heat keeps shutting down camera for overheat protection. Yeah, and that's, I don't have that problem even with this Canon. I've never had it overheat. I've never had it have the battery. The battery is a little bit bigger, and this battery will give me, like in this case, I don't even know if it's what charge it is right now. It pops up 54 minutes. There's 54 minutes of video or time available for the battery, and that's at half life right now. It's on 2 bars, and that's half life. So, yeah, I don't usually have that problem. Even I've only had some issues, slight issues with the GoPro dying preemptively, dying too soon. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have the heat. I don't know if this has the heat thing built in. The other thing I had to do is, I will say this: I've changed the lens on this, the inner lens twice, because I had weld sparks, and then I bought this UV lens that goes on the front, so it screws on, and that keeps it protected. So if I ever damage it, I can just unthread this one and replace it. But I try not to get too close to the welds. Dave at 778. Hi, Barry. Hi, Dave. That's like the 4th Dave sighting, I think. James says, much appreciated, Barry. You're welcome. Robert, I was filming for about 20 minutes with my GoPro today using an external power supply, and the camera was too hot to hold after that short time. Yeah, there's I don't know if it could be your battery that's your problem. I have like a little charger deal for the GoPro. I have a battery in there right now that's on full charge, so I keep these in rotation. I also have this little battery. You can't see it. Another little battery that goes in what I use for my time-lapse camera, and I have to keep those charged up because it's a really cheap Chinese camera. And then I have, with the Hero 11, I got this thing, came with it, and it's kind of cool. It's a little tripod. It's got a tripod on it, and it's also a battery, so I can hot feed straight into this, and have power for a long time. So there's all kinds of accessories out there, and it's easy to get caught up in all these things. But yeah, my Hero 11 does get warm, but it doesn't get too hot to touch. Hero's 9. 7. I don't know. I've had several of those too. I've got a 4, 7, and this is the 11. Yeah, this is the 11. All right. Travis, Barry gives so much value, at least $25 a month for Patreon. Thank you, Travis. And Travis is my number 1 patron. So thank you, Travis. Appreciate you. Terry says, I will send you an email this week. We are currently at $5, but I want to up that. Thank you. And the cats, thank you. Okay. Yeah, I think there's ways you can look at it and see. It gives you options, so. Jeff, my thought is you'd be surprised how much folks would be prepared to lean into places they've never seen themselves. That is a good point. And, I did try to cover a lot of ground with where we went. And also, I love food. You may notice that. I love food. And so on a cruise, there's food. And there's different restaurants. And there's different things you go to. And, of course, I took pictures of all the food and all the stuff because it's what you do, right? So I'm trying to incorporate all of that into this video. And try to remember what the different foods were and why they were, made a certain way and all those sort of things. So you're right. There's a lot of things that people want to see because they either can't go or they've never had the chance to go. So that's a good point. The bowler hat guy says, "Thank you, Don." And Roger, is there an audio compression feature in editing software? I don't know. I really don't know. They've updated it. It seems like every time they update it, I have to learn something new. The biggest problem I'm having right now with my editing software, because I've uploaded the latest version onto my new computer. What you're supposed to have available is the like I've created a bunch of things that are incorporated into my videos. Like if you notice at the end of this little video that I play on here, at the end of the sound thing with all me doing, me doing actions, it says thanks for watching, right? Well, that was a pre-made sort of thing that was on my editing software. It's no longer on the new version. And all the titles and all of the stuff, all my Patreon account people, because I try to put my patrons at the bottom, at the end of the video to show who's all there. I can't access that now, and so it's like frustrating because I want to be able to get that information and move it over to my new files, but I don't know how. And it's supposed to be in a global media form, to where it should draw directly from the cloud and pull it onto your system. It's not happening. So it's a little frustrating at the moment trying to make everything come together. Robert, I found that the cameras will tend to run hotter if you're using a large capacity SD card. Using a smaller one seems to be easier on them. I don't know, because the card that I'm running currently in this GoPro, it's 128 gigabytes. That's the current SD card in this little GoPro. 128. So I don't know. Jeffrey, are you going to start doing viewers projects again soon? I will whenever I get the opportunity. Yeah, I'm okay with that. A lot of times what I've had is people send me videos and then I edit it down to make a viewer's project video. So I'm open to that at any time. I've also wouldn't mind doing some where I go to somebody else's place and film their car and stuff like that. Recently I contacted a guy. He had a 70 Cougar at the Summit show. And I did a little kind of a reel on Facebook, and he saw that, and he was like really, really happy with that. And so he lives quite a ways south from me, but I said, hey, we could get together and I could do a video on your car. And he's interested, but he lives kind of out of the way at the moment. If I was headed that direction, I might plan it out so I can get there with him. But yeah, I'm open to viewers project anytime. Dawn, using a power cable while shooting may corrupt the audio. It does on my Sony SR12. See, that's, I've heard things about, Sony being good and different things. Let me tell you, I can't complain. This Canon is all I use. This is my main go-to camera. This is the HFR 800 is what this is. And before that, I had a 400. And the only reason I bought another one was because I scarred up the lens so bad. I had too much welding spatter on it. But yeah, me personally, I'm going to stick with the Canon. I like the Canon, but I've used it with the power cord. I've used it with different batteries. It's like a old Sherman tank. It just keeps on chugging along. Robert, I don't use the battery in the GoPro as it runs even hotter with one in it. Oh, interesting. Dawn says, hindsight depends on your software. Macs have one in the OS core audio. Okay. James, I just found out today my camera that I run, that I can turn off heat protection or customize the timer. If I would have known that, I would have I wouldn't have lost 20 minutes of video. Yeah. Yep. Dawn says lots of free plugins on the web. Okay. Rick Stevenson, I love food too. Doctor told me that I need to not like it quite so much. Yeah. Well, what do they know? We're not going to live forever. We're not. James, I'm trying two editing software, Adobe Premiere and DaVinci Resolve. 19 Adobe Suite is $35 a month, and DaVinci Resolve is free. I'll just say, if you're interested, look up Wondershare Filmora. Wondershare Filmora. Whenever, I don't know if they're still doing it or not. I bought the software 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I don't even remember. Because I was using like Microsoft something. I don't even know what it was, editing junk. And I bought Wondershare because I tried Adobe, and I was like, I couldn't grasp it very well. And then I went to the Wondershare, and I bought their software, and it said lifetime upgrades. And it has been. I have never bought anything else after that. And they have upgraded it like every couple months. It's a new upgrade. So I don't know. I think there was a big to-do about that about a year ago. They were trying to stop that. And there was there's a video guy, Dave something, who does nothing but reviews on editing software and shows you tips and tricks and all that stuff. He was actually a spokesperson for Wondershare, and he blew them up. He was like, no, you can't do that to people. You can't tell them you get a lifetime deal and then you try to stab them in the back. And they rescinded that, and they went back to, at least before that time period, if you were one of those buyers, you maintain that lifetime guarantee. After that, I think they changed it. But there's a lot of things you can add into, accessories you can buy, stuff like that. I never buy any of the extras. Rick Ain, there may be a way to export your settings from the old computer. You may have to transfer with a thumb drive, then re-import into the new version of Wondershare. Yeah, and I'm looking into that, and I'm trying to figure that out. But it's frustrating when it's supposed to be, and then part of this may be that the global media will only transfer if you have the same version in both computers. That's what I'm trying. I think that's what they said. I have not updated the one in my old computer because it's barely even functional right now. It's so full of junk, and it just chugs along that I don't even know if I can update it. So I'm trying to figure it out. James, I'm running 1 terabyte SD cards. Yeah, that's a lot of information. Robert, try running 128s. I started having issues at 256 and bigger. Okay. Jeff, Barry, looks like you've already identified one of several themes, food, you can split your cruise videos into. I'd like to see a separate video on packing both before and during your trip. That's we're past that point. We haven't. I know we didn't do any packing video. My wife would not let that happen. But I'll have to think about that. That might be an avenue, is break it down into, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how it looks. But that's a great idea. Thank you. Okay, we're at hour and 24, almost 25 minutes in, and I'm about out of coffee. I'm out of coffee. All right. So like I said, we are, whoops. Let me see what we got here. Robert. I should do a video on packing, etc. Since we go from hotel to ferry to ATV to hotel and back again. Yes, we'll be strapping our bags down on an ATV and driving through the mountains. Okay. That would be interesting. Jeff says, Rick, my doctor is the same. He says to me, open your mouth and say oink. Dawn says, use XML transfer protocol. I don't even know what that is, Dawn. But if you want to send me an email about it, that would be fantastic. Because I don't even know I wouldn't even know where to look for that. Robert, I got to go pick up the Queen at the train station. We'll listen on the way. Yeah, I'm probably done, Robert. I'm probably done. It's an hour and a half, and it's time to go in the house and get some ice cream. Richard, great show as always. Thanks, Barry. Yes, and James, my Mustang Garage. Good night, everyone. Busy week for me. Lots to do before August 20th. Yes, we'll be getting together very soon. Very soon. Okay. So that is a good point. We're gonna come to a close here tonight. It's been great. It's been great having everybody here, interacting, questions, comments, all great to have. I'm going to be putting together in the video for swapping the rear end in Jade and going over some detail with that, and that'll be coming out at the end of this week. Also, I should edit the video for the cruise that we did at Summit Racing. That might be interesting to some people to see that. And I'm sure there's something else out there, but at this point, that's all I can give you. Again, thanks for being here, and I'll be back at this point. Should be back next week, next Monday, which will be the 12th. Hope you all are here, and until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.